How's everyone doing today? It's your boy JJ Domination. We are back. Damn, English is hard today. So we are back here with a similar video to our Philadelphia Eagles video, except it's about a totally different team and a totally different topic. And like I said, man, I'm just gonna be picking these teams, and we're gonna be going rapid fire, man. If I got a take for this team, you know, I'm gonna put it out there. Like for the Philadelphia Eagles, I said they'd be the team to beat. For this team, the Jaguars, man, they got a ways to go before they, you know, end up being relevant again. And I know that sounds harsh. I know some people are going to be like, but they got Nick Foles, man. They got the Super Bowl champ Nick Foles, man. And it's like, yeah, I get it. You know, Nick Foles was pretty damn good in Philadelphia, but we've seen what Nick Foles looks like outside of Philadelphia, and he's not good. Like, he was competing with Case Keenum for a starting job with Jeff Fisher's LA Rams, man. Or St. Louis Rams, excuse me, before they relocated to LA. And then also, like, he went to the Chiefs. He was a backup. He contemplated retiring. Now, I'm pretty sure his second run, you know, will be better. I'm sure he learned a lot from his first stint outside of Philadelphia that, listen, man, everything, you know, outside of the system isn't going to be, you know, rainbows and unicorns, man. You're going to struggle. It's not going to be all easy. All the reads aren't going to be there. So, like, I get it, you know, but for Nick Foles, maybe things are better. Maybe I'm just sleeping on Jacksonville. I don't know. But Jacksonville, the more that I think about it, the more I have legit concerns for this team. Alright, so at quarterback, it's very hit or miss with Nick Foles. He can either be pretty good for this team, or it's going to be a disaster. I don't think he's going to be like an MVP caliber quarterback, but hey, you never know. League's wide open next year. You know, I don't think he's going to be... I don't know, man. I don't think he's going to be an elite quarterback with this team. He's either going to be average or he's going to be terrible. I don't really think there's a middle ground for Nick Foles, you know, in that department. You know, he's either going to be, you know, kind of like what Kirk Cousins is, but not as good, or he's just going to be what Blake Bortles was, which they tried to get off of and get away from. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic. I'm excited, though, for this team. Like, there is optimism. I just don't think they're going to be really good right away, man. I think they got a ways to go, you know, before they're relevant again. I don't really know what I'm going to title this one. I guess why the Jaguars are a work in progress, I guess. I mean, maybe that's a good title, but I mean, let's just start out, man, with the quarterback and work our way to the safeties. You know, like the quarterback, it's hit or miss. Running back, I'm just going to say this about Leonard Fournette, man. I don't have a problem with Leonard Fournette. I don't think he's a bad running back at all. I mean, I actually think he's a solid running back, a very capable one at that. But he has to be the most overhyped running back that came out of college in a minute. And I know that's going to sound terrible, and, you know, the series is basically saying shit on the fly, but Leonard Fournette has to be the most overhyped quarterback that has come out the most overhyped running back, excuse me, that has come out in a while. I mean, I get it, man. He played at LSU. He was a stud for a long time, and then he ran into Alabama and didn't do shit. And then, I don't know, man. Then he just comes to the NFL. He has some great games, and then he runs in the slightly above average run defenses, and all of a sudden he forgot how to run. Like, it's weird. And then last year he had this weird hamstring injury where it looked like he was going to come back, and then he did come back after a little bit longer rehabbing, and then like he plays like 3 quarters worth of a game and he gets taken out again, and then he has to sit out the season. Like, his injury history is getting quite bizarre. And if this team would have just re-signed TJ Yeldon, like, that would have been good, but they didn't. They let him go to Buffalo, and I think he's going to be pretty good in Buffalo, you know, and it's going to be interesting. The wide receiver room, I mean, I'm going to be honest, man. I'm a fan of who they got here. Obviously, I said that Keelan Cole was being underrated a little bit by Madden. Marquise Lee, I think, if he can rebound from his injury that he suffered last preseason. He could be good. And then who else is here? D.D. Westbrook's all right, but to me, and the tight end room is whatever. It's a lot of unproven, a lot of guys who haven't played a whole lot of football, and hasn't had a whole lot of reps. To me, man, it's just an unproven group. Like, there's no borderline elite player. There's no above average player in this group. I mean, everyone's just average or unproven. There's nobody in this receiving group except maybe Marquise Lee, like I said, but he's coming off of an injury. I don't really have the highest expectations for him because he is coming off of an injury, a long rehabbing process. Maybe he breaks out next season. I don't know, but for now it's like they don't have an above average player in their receiving core, including the tight end position, including any potential receiving backs, because let's face it, Leonard Fournette is a glorified power back these days. And then the offensive line, listen, they've done a good job of actually improving this offensive line. The problem is health. They have not been a healthy bunch, but they are a good bunch when healthy. That's the thing. Cam Robinson, he's fine, but he's just never healthy. Andrew Norwell, he's pretty good, but he's had some health concerns over the past season. Let's see, Brandon Linder, pretty damn good center, health concerns. AJ Can, he's the only dude that can stay on the field. And then Jawan Taylor, he's a second-round rookie that could have been a top 10 pick, but I think he had some knee issues, and some teams were kind of, iffy about the medical report. So he ended up slipping. He could be a pretty solid right tackle for this team. We'll just have to see. Very good in college for Florida. Only gave up 1 sack in his last 2 seasons, I believe, as a starter, including his time at left tackle. So he's good. Not to mention that his teammate, Josh Allen, he's got really good tape against him. And he was a number 7 overall pick, a guy that some people had in the top 3, nonetheless top 5 of mock drafts. So that's a positive if you're Jawan Taylor. But now we'll focus on Josh Allen and his position group, man. The edge rushers, the defensive ends. You got him, Yannick Ngakoue, and I guess Calais Campbell's going to move on to the inside, which I'm cool with, man. He's a good interior pass rusher. He can definitely work the inside, work the middle of the pocket, provide great pressure. Maybe if Josh Allen can develop his moves a little bit more and use his athleticism to work himself around the edge, he could be fine, man. He could be a contributor right away. Not to mention, this team did draft Taven Bryan last season. I expect him to get an increased workload, especially with what's his face being, who did they cut? Malik Jackson, especially with him being gone. You also have Marcel Darius still there, and Avery Jones. They're both still there. So maybe the room is a little bit crowded, but man, I expect Taven Bryan to get on the field more. Avery Jones will probably be a goal line guy. Darius might rotate in with Calais Campbell potentially, or Josh Allen on third down. Because Josh Allen's a guy who I can see out there on third down with Yannick Ngakoue, and they slide Campbell and Bryan inside at defensive tackle. That could actually be pretty damn good. Their third down defensive line package could be pretty damn good if executed correctly and everyone, reaches a certain level. Their linebacking core took a hit, though, with Telvin Smith, resigning from football for a year, going on a 1-year hiatus to really focus on himself. And that's good, man. I'm always going to root for the player. It sucks that he's not here to maintain a status or still prove that he is that dude, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to be forgotten about. However, you do have players like Jake Ryan who were hurt last year, but they were able to get a contract with the Jaguars, former Green Bay Packer. I'm rooting for him personally, man. I think he's a pretty good player, but overrated in Madden because he's been hurt and he hasn't really done much the last year or two, but I think he has the potential to be a good player. I feel like he's going to start out as a special teamer and then work his way up, and I think by mid-season he should be okay. We'll see, though. I mean, not everyone rehabs and progresses the same. You still have Miles Jack, who didn't have the greatest of sophomore seasons, but, man, he could really bounce back this upcoming season. And like I said, man, a lot of teams just run 2 linebacker sets, so if you're lucky to have Jake Ryan emerge and Miles Jack take that next step, then, hey, You got Jake Ryan. You got what's his face, Miles Jack. So I mean, everything might be fine after that. And then you get to your secondary. It's going to be very hit or miss, man. You got arguably the best cornerback duo in the league. Well, it may not even be arguable. It might just be. You know what I'm saying? You got what's his name, AJ Boye, and then Jalen Ramsey, of course. That third corner, honestly, I'd have to look at their depth chart. I really don't remember who their third corner is. I think it's DJ Hayden. Could be wrong. But I am really concerned about that safety position. This team is going to have to be getting constant pressure if they want to bail out these safeties. Because let me tell you, man, you get a tight end like George Kittle to run a good old seam route on these guys, yeah, he's gone. Ain't no safety getting him. Ain't no safety good enough on this team to cover yet, anyway. I mean, Ronnie Harrison, we'll see. A free safety, I think it's Cody Davis. He's more of a special teams player. I just don't know who their safeties are going to be. I'm concerned about the back end of their defense. Their corners on the boundary, they're going to be fine. At middle linebacker, if Miles Jack has a good year, he'll be fine. But, dude, these tight ends are going to abuse this team, especially if they're not getting pressure like that. Their safeties over the top. It wouldn't surprise me if they're like one of the 5 worst safety tandems in the league next season. But I hope that's not the case for this team's sake. I just don't think they're a playoff team. I think they're at least another year or two away from being relevant and back in not only playoff contention, but Super Bowl contention, like legit Super Bowl contention. And you also have to give Blake Bortles a little bit of credit from this aspect. Yeah, he's been ass ever since that, playoff spurt that they had, but man, in those 2 playoff games against Pittsburgh and New England, I gotta give the man props. He played very well in those games. I didn't expect him to. I thought the defense would have to constantly bail him out, but man, he made some plays at times and he was bailing out the defense. That's what it looked like. So I'm gonna give props to Blake Bortles, but obviously you can't be afraid to upgrade in this league. Nick Foles is definitely better than Blake Bortles. However, what Nick Foles are we going to get? I assume the one that's outside of Philadelphia, so not the good Nick Foles. But we'll see, man. This team is really going to depend on Nick Foles and the back end of their defense. If the safeties are trash and Nick Foles isn't what they thought they were going to get, this team could be 6-10. And back in the top 10 of the draft, and maybe they're looking at quarterback, man. You never know. Or maybe they just find a stud safety like, I think his name's Grant Delpit. What's his name? Grant Delpit. I don't know his name. Anyway, he plays at LSU. He's a stud safety, like the number 1 safety in the next class. I mean, that could be the guy that this team drafts to be their cover guy. Because they do need a cover safety. Harrison, more of an unproven commodity, more of a somewhat box safety. I don't know, man. I'm worried about this team in the back end of their defense, and if Nick Foles doesn't live up to what they think they're getting, they're going to be in trouble, because this receiving core is not the best. They have talent, but they don't have like a number 1 dude. I would say they don't have like an above average talent who's going to ascend their core. They also really don't have a good balance outside of Leonard Fournette at running back. I mean, and plus his health has always been a concern since he's, been a pro. There's just a lot to be concerned about with this team. There's just too many red flags for me to buy into them being a sneaky good playoff team and just being a sneaky team that can get to the playoffs. I mean, that's just hard, man. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, man. Hopefully there's not too much hate, going towards Jacksonville, or too much hate coming my way because I'm not picking Jacksonville to be good. It is what it is, man. It's just the situation they're in. They have a chance to be a lot better than what I'm, giving them credit to be. But the great part about these videos is I record them in July and not the middle of the NFL season, and they got a chance to prove me wrong this upcoming season. So hopefully they do, for the team's sake. I'm going to be doing more videos like this, especially if y'all like them. I don't know how many I'll be doing, but just know when the preseason comes around, I'll probably stop doing them. Or maybe it'll just give me more to talk about based on what I've seen in the preseason. Of course, me and Aaron, towards the end of August, we're going to be giving our official predictions in terms of division winners and playoff teams and who we think goes to the Super Bowl, all that cool stuff. But hopefully you guys enjoy, and next time we'll see you. Peace.